Good afternoon, ladies, and welcome to our fifth session for the year, which is on self-development. And in the book that we're focusing on this month, it's Peaks and Valleys by Dr. Spencer Johnson. And today, the session that we are going to have has two objectives, which is on understanding the key concept of peaks and valleys and also reflecting on personal experiences. My name is Muraro Nematayeni from ImPower'd Women Book Club, and today I'm going to be your facilitator. And with me, I've got Nobuhle, who will do a didactic on mental health, and then we've got Eshla Malebo Molefe, who will be doing the case presentation. So our agenda for today will start with me doing the introduction. I'll introduce the ECHO model. I had some of you saying it's the first time using this way of signing into the session. So I'll explain the ECHO model, how it works, and then introduce ImPower'd Women. And thereafter, we will do an introduction where I'll start with the team members, where they'll introduce themselves. And thereafter, the participants will then get an opportunity to also introduce themselves. Thereafter, we'll do a presentation or a talk on mental health by Nobuhle, and then we'll engage in terms of questions and comments around the presentation. And thereafter, we will have a case presentation by Eshla. A case presentation, it's simply an introduction from of the book. So she gets first preference in terms of giving an overview of the book, how she's experienced the book, and then open up the floor for a book discussion, which will do that for 35 minutes or so, and thereafter we'll wrap up and also share about the feedback link where you'll give feedback across the session. So for your information, we are recording this session so that other participants can be able to watch it after if you experience any challenges with electricity, the internet, or any technical difficulties. And these recordings will also be available on our ImPower'd Women Book Club YouTube channel. And then by participating in this session, you're consenting to being recorded. And then first things first, renaming. So you can enter your name and where you're based. And then if you are attending with other people, you can just add +5 or +2 people if you're attending as a group. And then that will count on the stats when we do pull the stats for this session. And renaming, so next to your photo, there is 3 buttons, so you can just click on them, and then there'll be a section of rename, and then you can just put your name and where you're based. And then if you need to mute or unmute on your bottom left, there will be a section where you can mute or unmute. And then in terms of sharing of screen, when we come to our presenters, if you would like to share your screen, then you can just use the share screen button. We also have a chat functionality. So if you struggle with the mic, we can just share on the chat, and then we'll be happy to take your comments and inputs into consideration. And also those that may not be able to introduce themselves, then they can just simply share on the chats. So video conferencing etiquette, you introduce yourself, you can just say hello, tell us where you're based, and then with this, it can also be an opportunity for you to give a brief about yourself. So if you want and you're comfortable, you cannot just limit it to saying, I'm Muraro, I'm based in Toyando. You can say, I'm Muraro, I'm based in Toyando, I'm a certified financial planner, and then this is what I do. And then when you're done, you can mute your mic, and then we should be able to see your face when you've got your video on. And phones on silent. And then if you want to input or ask a question, then you can use the raise your hand functionality. And let's please maintain confidentiality. So if you are sharing information, continue. Yes. So currently, I was saying that we can introduce ourselves, and then if we're not speaking, then we can mute the session. Then I had touched on this. So at the end of the session, there will be a feedback form. So we'll share the link on the chat, and then you can share the feedback. The feedback is simply to assist us so that we can be able to improve on the sessions going forward. And for those that have started with us in the beginning of the year, when we launched on the ECHO platform, you would have seen that there's a lot that has changed and also in the time allocations as well, taking into account the feedback that we receive after each session. So introducing the ECHO model. We use the ECHO model because we've partnered with Project ECHO, and this is a company that we met, or an organization that we met with at the Litasa conference last year. And with this model, it's the use of technology to leverage on scarce resources. It's mostly used in health, and us as Empowered Women were the first to launch the ECHO on education here in South Africa. So with this, we use technology to be able to leverage on scarce resources. And then also we share best practices. And then it's a case-based learning. So in health, they use different cases so that they can share the learning. So with us in education in the book club, we are using the case presentation for one of us to start with the book discussion. It's a web-based database to monitor outcomes. So we have stats in terms of how many people have attended the session and the details of our members. So you would have seen when you registered on the platform, the information that is required. So we're able to have stats and data that we can use accordingly. So introducing Empowered Women, we are a registered nonprofit organization working for the rights and empowerment of women. Our aim is to empower, educate, and celebrate women. We do this through a book club. So we read one book a month, and then we review the last weekend of the month. Our network currently has over 360 women. We've launched Empowered Kids Reading Club and Empowered Women Business Forum. So we're a member of LITASA, the Literacy Association of South Africa, that I was speaking about earlier, and then the Limpopo United Business Forum, LUBF. So with that said, this is the photos that you have seen on the socials and also on our WhatsApp group. We've got a voluntary joining fee or a commitment fee for 125 Rand for the year. So this is to help us keep track as well in terms of who is reading with us or who is doing this business forum with us. And as you can see here, Empowered Women Book Club and Empowered Kids Reading Club, they go together because these reading clubs are being championed by women within the book club, reading with their own children. You can have 2 or 3 children that you're reading with, or children within the community. Then we're able to know who has how many kids that they're reading with. And then when we source resources, we're able to allocate accordingly. And with that said, going back to the agenda for today, I've done the introduction of the ECHO model and also Empowered Women. We'll do the introduction. So if you are ready, you can just raise your hand and then I will hand over to you to be able to do the introduction. We're introducing the raising of hand because sometimes people are not in a place where they're able to introduce themselves using audio, and then they will prefer to use the chat functionality to do the introduction. So if you're ready, then you can just raise your hand and then I will hand over to you to do the introduction. And then those that can't introduce themselves verbally, then they can simply do the introductions on the chat. Who is available and ready to do the introductions?
Well, Malala, I have introduced myself, and I'll be doing the case presentation for today. And those who were not here while I'm introducing myself, I'm Malebo. I'm based in Pretoria, and I'm a financial planner, and I enjoy reading so much. I'm part of 2 reading groups. So yeah, I'm happy to be part of our and I'm willing to do everything.
Thank you, Malevo, for the introduction. You were breaking a bit there, but we're able to catch the introduction. Who would like to go next? Tanga, are you available? And there's one of our team members as well who just logged in. If you can rename yourself so that we'll be able to know who you are, and then you can go and do the introductions. Tanga?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sanganetsani Mushiane. I'm based in Bloemfontein. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanga, for the introduction. Anyone else that is available and ready to do the introduction? Busisiwe?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Hi, ladies. It's Busisiwe Ngwenya. I'm based in Pretoria. I'm an author and I also do Triple BE consulting. We also have a film production company. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction. Itumeleng?
Sure, I'm struggling with network. Hello, everyone. This is Itumeleng Moshokwane, based in Bloemfontein, also a member of ImPower'd Women Book Club. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introductions. Buseletso and Tavisile, if you're available, you can introduce yourself. And if not, then you can just use the chat functionality to do the introductions. Okay, with that said, we're going to move over to the next section of our presentation, and then we are going to hand over to Nobuhle. Nobuhle indicated that she'll do her introductions during the didactic session. So over to you, Nobuhle from Chagaza Consulting. I will allow for you to be able to share the screen.
Okay, let me do that. Where do I go? I need to, oh, there. I think it's at the bottom there.
Thank
Okay.
you. Welcome, Tabisile, from the Eastern Cape. You're most welcome.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Not yet.
Can you guys see my screen now?
Not yet.
Not yet. How? Okay. What happens? Okay, hold on. I will do that. No, I'll just exit from here. Okay. Let's do this and then go back to the Zoom. So I said share screen. Oh, I had not chosen. Sorry. There we go. And then it says snip my and what? Okay. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but anyway. My laptop is asking for permissions now. Oh, Jesus.
Should I share them
There we go.
for you for this side? Okay.
I'm fine now, I think, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Later. Okay, that's fine. And then now that I have, can you guys at least see something happening? Have I changed? Are you now seeing something?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, there we go. All right, so Malala, you guys are going to have to help me with this one. Because it seems like once I go into presentation mode, all I see is I only can see my presentation, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to see you guys.
Okay.
Oh no, you're right at the top, so it's fine. Okay. All right. No, you're right at the top. Geez, we learn new things every day.
That's why it's just up here so that we are comfortable to.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to minimize my connection issues. Okay, maybe let me try until, if at all it does break at some point, you do let me know, so that I can switch off the camera. Is that okay?
Okay. No
Purely
problem.
because of, yeah, I've got
you can
kids
also
here playing
present with the camera
PlayStation.
off. It's fine.
It's okay. All right. Okay, so my name is Nobuhle, and well, Miponi Nobuhle Zwane, and I'm going to take you through what I said. Here is peaks and valleys, Making Good and Bad Times Work for You, which is the book that you are reading, that you have been reading. I've also actually listened to the audio and how it's linked. So I thought, let me take that and then link it to mental health. Okay, so we'll start off. My agenda will, it's just me at a glance, who I am, and then what is our quest in life, how to be resilient, questions of the human heart, and then we'll go into a conclusion, and then my thank yous, and you'll have my contact details thereafter. All right, so, wow, Nobuhle. Nobuhle, I prefer Nobuhle, but for those that would want to, use me Boni, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to allow you. You can use any name that you feel comfortable with. It's just that growing up, funny enough, Miponi used to be my street name, and then Ekaya Nobuhle. All right, so that's why I'm more heartful to Nobuhle. But besides that, Nobuhle is a people investment expert, and that you can easily translate it into human resources. I'm a mentor, I'm a speaker, I'm an MC. I write as well. I'm a mental health ambassador. I'm an awareness ambassador for a company called Mental Insure. They are based in Cape Town, but basically what they do is to give online assistance in terms of mental health. You get to do it online, as opposed to some people that cannot actually go and afford to see a psychologist every month or a psychologist now and again, because we all know those fees come at a higher rate. But you do get your personalized person that will actually talk to you through whatever it is that you're going through. And I'm also a life coach in progress. The reason I say in progress is because I've actually been mentoring. I started mentoring when I was in varsity. I did that through a voluntary program. So I was going to a home for sexually abused kids. And I started there, and it just grew into me. And then, as obviously within the work that I do when I was still in corporate, I had to do a lot of mentoring as well for my team, yes, but also in terms of line managers and so forth. But I use more of a coaching style when I mentor. So I've always been coaching, but now I'm in the process of getting registered and so forth. So I still have quite a bit to do, sessions and all that. So that is that. And my talents, skills, and passion and value add, I mentioned people, investment consultant. I love people. I studied industrial psychology at Wits, and that's where my love for wanting to have solutions to problems at work came from. I am an individual and group personal and career development mentor. I do CVs and interview preparations. I do work readiness sessions. I do goal setting and life purpose. I facilitate goal setting and life purpose sessions as well. In terms of my speaking journey, I do people investment matters, so expert and facts in terms of when it comes to HR. Motivational, I do spiritual and tailored topics. When I mention tailored topics, I'm referring to, should you be having an event and the theme of your event is this, if it's something that I can tackle and also bring in my passion around the mental health or even around people investment, that's what I do. I remember I was invited last year. I did a talk at Home Affairs for their Women's Day celebration, and that was they needed me to talk on empowerment and the psychological effects and mental health effects of being empowered in the workplace and employment equity, which is something that was a broad topic, but the lovely thing is it had a lot of facts that related to women and where we still are and where we are struggling in terms of the work industry. And then I write. So I do have a blog. And I work my blog literally. I always say to people, if you want to get to know me, if you go on my blog, you'll get to know a bit of me probably. But at the same time, I write on just about anything that I feel and it's trending or could pop into my mind, or I have a conversation with someone and I want to probably tackle it more. But I am in a way telling my personal story as well as I write. I've also just launched a newsletter on LinkedIn where I'll only be talking regarding work matters and more specifically to being an employee and not from an employer side of view. So that is me in a nutshell. And before I get to the next slide, I want to just mention how I actually, what my context is in terms of the presentation today. So I was diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety in 2013, and also with extreme burnout. So that happened in 2013. I am still living it. I always say I live with severe depression and anxiety. I don't say I am struggling with it. The reason being is that it actually does get better and better and better. Yes, I am still on medication, but because at times you do stop medication, you get to a point where they stop you and you're fine, and something in life happens, trauma, anything can happen in life that will trigger you to go back into that hole, which is that valley that the book you've been reading about actually is talking about. So hence I figured, you know what, let me tell you about that part of me. It's been over 10 years, and I am where I am. I have my ups and downs, I have my peaks and valleys, but more than anything, I'd like to actually share with you that it's so amazing when I realized, it was so amazing when I realized that actually my depression and anxiety actually made me very resilient. And that is why I want to talk about resilience and linking it to mental health, because at the same time, those peaks and valleys that we do go through, as mentioned even in the book, you know, it is how you view it, it is how you see it. But more than anything, it is a choice at the end of the day. You know, do you want to get out of your valley? And if you do seek help, do you want help or not? But more than anything, it takes actually you having to be truthful to yourself, having to literally, I heard on the book they talk about being outside of yourself. For me, that translates to having to actually being uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable, and that is when you're actually going to be moving and doing something. When you are depressed, and when you're going through mental depression, mental health issues, even the bipolar people, even the schizophrenia, actually it's so weird how the bipolars, the schizophrenia, the multiple personality disorders all have a foundation of depression. So it is about, at some point in your life, you know, you were at such a low that you did not realize, and then having to say, okay, I need help. Then then you started doing the actual work, because it requires a lot of work, and it requires you to be uncomfortable and to allow yourself to be uncomfortable and allow yourself to also, more than anything, be true to yourself. So bearing in mind as I talk, I need you to remember this. A valley in the true sense of the dictionary word is a low area of a land or in between hills and mountains, right? But typically there's always a river or stream flowing through it, right? And then a peak is that pointed top at the mountain, which is what we would call where you'd want to reach, right? That would be your objective in life. So then with that in context, I want to say, how to cultivate resilience is basically relating to what the book was actually advising us to do. Self-awareness being number one. You need to be aware of yourself and where you are at in life. And if you are in a valley, recognize that you are in a valley. If you are at your peak, celebrate your peak. So it has to do a lot with having to be aware, being aware of your feelings, being aware of everything else that is also happening in your life. Because life doesn't stop when you're in a valley. Life carries on. Other people carry on. And everything else in your life does carry on. Your bills that you can't pay anymore, they don't just stop and go away. They're there. They will call you. They will do, but you need to first have that self-awareness of where are you personally. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is also a way of paying attention to what is occurring in your present moment. I always, when I do sessions, I always start with, let's just be mindful at this very moment, and start off with, take a deep breath, and then you slowly breathe out, and then realize anything that is actually taking your attention from being here and being present in this moment. Because now we are present in this session, what could be taking your mind away? And that's something that I want to ask you. Maybe it's something that you felt in the beginning of the presentation when Mulalo started, but I need you to actually just quickly scan your body and ask your body, what is it that is taking my mind away from being present in this presentation? And just note it down. We'll talk about it through the discussion. And then after you do that, you keep doing your breathing exercises, and then you need to let go of it. So the moment you become present that I have a headache, and this headache is actually very, it's painful, but I need it to go away for me to be present. You talk to your headache, and so that you can release it and then become present of this moment, of this very moment, and having to be aware that, yes, I am in a session. I need to be present, because at the end of the day, we are going to get into a discussion and. You need to be present at every point in your life. You cannot drive and not be present. You cannot you cannot take care of yourself if you are not actively always being mindful of what is going on with your well-being. The book mentions, Spencer Johnson mentions the fact that our ultimate need is peace at the end of the day, right? It's peace. But we look for peace. We want peace in everything. So everything must be peaceful. It's not just about everything being peaceful. It starts with you. Are you in a peaceful mode? Are you in a mode where you can allow things to actually happen to you and allow even the bad things to happen to you? But how are you going to respond? So I'm actually summarizing most of these things because of obviously time constraints. The reason I think I'm a speaker as well, which is one of my gifts, is because I can speak. So I need to be mindful of time. So then the next one is positive relationships. The peaks and valleys mentions there's that time of feeling very lonely. You're feeling very lonely in your valley. And it happens. And that's what mental health also does to you. In most cases, when you are going through a very depressed time, or you're going through a very tough time in your life, you've lost a loved one, you tend to feel alone because you tend to think that you're the only one going through this and no one else understands. But I have come to realize, and it took a while. I mean, it takes years, because I feel that it's always something that we work on a daily basis. You must build positive relationships at work and around you, and always have positive structures that are going to be your support. If it means that you need to cut out some people because they've become toxic, or people that you guys have nothing to talk about, but to probably ask what's happening on the weekend, where are we meeting, and if you really feel that is not adding value to you at that point, there's nothing wrong in you saying, I have to take this aside, or I can no longer be this person. I am growing, I am evolving. And right now, in the space that I am, I think this is not working for me. But I'm telling you from experience, having to build positive relationships at work and around me has actually helped quite a lot. And for me, my positive support structure is my family. So my family, and I chose my family because they've been through it with me. They've been through everything that I've gone through. So my depression and burnout came from a lot of different things that were happening in my life at the time. But that's a conversation for another day. But should you probably ask a question, I mean, I'll answer around that. I'm very open, and I like I said, I'm a storyteller about my own personal life. Do not be shy from having relationships with seniors and high-end people. The reason I say that is sometimes for you to grow, you have to realize when you are at work, because the book does mention a lot about the little boy's work situation. If you can see that probably the people at your level are not helping you grow, don't be shy with building relationships with a manager from a certain unit, or with an executive member that you feel and have recognized that this person has 1, 2, 3 that can add positively to my time at work. These are the people that you dig deep into when you are feeling at your lowest, when you are at that valley, especially at work. Because at work, there's different personalities, there's different things, there's toxic environments. But you have to have, when you have relationships at work that are grounding you, and that always remind you of your passion and where you want to be, those things are really valuable in life. Those kind of relationships are valuable. And at the end of the day, I always say it is about your own values. So one of the things that cultivates resilience more, I've realized that I had to define what are my values. Because once you know what your values in life are, you actually will see it happen. You will gravitate to things and people that actually share the same values as you, even to employers that actually have more or less the same values that you can actually align to. When you're working in an environment where the values are really something that you cannot even understand, or you don't see it happening, it's very hard to actually say, sure, I'll work for this business and I will give it my all. In some cases, you find that you might have to, because you've got a family to support and an end. But let me be very honest with you, it actually doesn't do much for your mental health. When you are in a toxic environment, or when you are in an environment where you can see that nothing is changing, nothing is going to change, and you are actually now becoming, you're becoming something that you're not, and you are becoming something that you shouldn't be. For example, I once worked for a company where I realized the things that they had expected of me. Personally, on a personal level, those were things that I would definitely not do. So that's that is one of the things in terms of values. I mean, I knew what's the law, what is right, what is wrong in terms of HR. And if they kept on mentioning what I need to do, which wasn't lawful, which was not, I would always have to fight until I realized that actually, you know what, this is not my company. Let me do what they say. But it broke me inside. It broke me. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of having to define your own personal values and aligning them with the work environment or your personal life as well, because this links to friends, this links to people that you meet, this links to everything that is around you. And lastly, your purpose. Never forget what your purpose is and allow yourself the opportunity of growth and transformation. Like I mentioned earlier, we are constantly evolving. So when you allow yourself to be outside of yourself and being uncomfortable, that is when the actual work is happening. I made a note when I was actually listening to the audio that during the valley moment, that's actually when the work is happening. That's actually when you're doing the work to get to the peak. And that's what also with mental health, that's what it takes. You being at your lowest, having taken certain decisions, and you saying, yes, I have a problem, I need to get help. That's where a lot of the work needs to be done. That's where, in some cases, with some severe cases, like I was a severe case, I needed to be admitted. I needed to be admitted in order for me to basically start afresh, realign myself. Where am I? Who am I? And all sorts of things. And one of the things to help you with your purpose, and I always say I learned this from the course that I'm currently doing, the life coaching course, and that is to ask yourself what they call the questions of the human heart, and that is, who am I? And that will give you your identity. Who am I? Where am I from? And that's the source. And where am I from? Which is going to be your purpose. Where am I from? What has happened before? What is going on now? And actually, what is it that I want to do in this life? What can I do that taps into your potential? Remind yourself of all those things that you are passionate about, that you love doing, that you wake up in the morning and you do with ease, without having to drag yourself out of bed. And lastly, where am I going, which is your destiny? These questions of the human heart, this is an exercise that you can easily even do every 6 months, just to see and align and try and align to the vision that you've probably set for yourself in the beginning of the year, to the vision that you've never lost the sight of. I believe in journaling. I believe in vision boards, but I do my vision board slightly differently. And that is also something we can discuss at another stage. But when you have things that you keep seeing, you don't forget them. When you write things down, you don't forget. But if in your mind you're saying, okay, I plan in the next 6 months to have made my business to be marketable, or I plan, you're saying a lot to your mind, and the mind will absorb, yes, but you must say it out to the universe, write it down, because the universe and God sees, and visualizing it helps you to see it every day, what it is that you're working towards. So that is also something I believe has also helped me in terms of mental health. It helps to start again, to literally just say, what is it that I want to do? Where to from now? So in conclusion, I would like to say everything we do needs to be out of love. Love what you do. Love what you do. If your job is to take care of kids and you're a teacher, do it out of love. Love what you do. As a financial planner, do you love actually seeing your clients making the right decisions financially so that they can live better when they retire? Because obviously we all know some of our parents were not taught these things. Some of our parents didn't, and hence they didn't teach them to us. So are you then making an impact financially, and do you love that impact that you're making? So love what you do. It takes courage to start again. It definitely does. When you are uncomfortable, it's easy to say no, or I don't want to get out of this phase. I don't want to get out of my valley. I don't want to talk too much about the book because I know that we're going to have the case study by Malebu later, and then we'll discuss obviously everyone in terms of how the book meant to you or how you related to the book. But at every point in your valley, you need to have the courage to start again. And starting again can just mean having to go back 2 steps back and saying, okay, this is not working. What is going to work? Or literally having to start again. I was unemployed recently for about 2 years. And it was an up and down of peak valley. But in that, I made certain decisions that helped me to stay more on the peak. And look, I'm a visionary. I can dream. But at the same time, because of what I struggle with and with the anxiety that I have, there are certain times when that does get to me and it clouds my vision. But I've also learned that it's not wrong, and it's not for the next person, but it's for myself. Maybe I need to start again. Maybe I need to move back home and see where did I make mistakes? What can I do now? What can I do better? Disciplining your emotions helps a lot with mental health. And when I say discipline your emotions, I'm not saying that you saying, oh no, I need to keep going. I can't be feeling this way. Part of disciplining your emotions has a lot to do with allowing yourself to feel. I've always had a problem where I thought I'm the firstborn. I need to always be right, be perfect, be this, be that. I got to a point in 2013 where I was tired. I was tired of doing the right thing, doing what mommy and daddy wanted, being an example for my brother, being an example for the people that I'm working with, being this, being that, wanting to climb the ladder so much that I literally had no life. And it looked like I had a life, but no, even when I was in social mode, I was constantly thinking of that ladder and so forth. So I would force myself not to get into the feeling. And one needs to allow themselves to feel. But the decision is, can we have a pity party for a month? And that is no. You can't have a pity party for a month. Yes, I can go through a breakup and share it with my friends, and we go and bash the guy and do whatever. And then we talk bad about him. And then, after a while, you need to get up and go again, because that is nature. That is being human. We are going to be hurt. And that is why Bati umjolo is an extreme sport. You are taking chances with your emotions there, but at the same time, that it might last, it might not. And if it does, what if you take the little bits that were positive and you move on with them? I'm not saying it's easy, but you need to allow yourself to feel. So that allows you to have that mindfulness, that allows you to be present in that moment. Once you're present in a certain moment and a certain feeling, you actually allow yourself to work through it, and then you get to move on. Accept where you are. It is not easy. I gave up a cushioned, I gave up a salary that was doing more than super for me. I gave up a nice, lovely, sunny corner office. The time when I literally stopped working in corporate was in 2021, August. And I made a decision that I cannot do this to myself anymore. I literally had to choose between life and work. But what work was doing to me at that time was not healthy, was not helping me, was not good even for my family. And that's, you need to accept where you are. And where I was at that point, I needed to take care of myself. So it does sometimes you have to make very difficult decisions when you are in the valley. Live your life with passion. And that goes back to loving what you do, because your passion is always something that's there. It's like almost engraved in your bloodline. If you do everything from a place of love, trust me that that's the one thing that will keep you going as well. Don't give up and don't give in. There are times when I gave in and said, but it's not working. But it didn't help me much, because at the end of the day, you realize you are then either settling or you are then saying it's okay to be in the valley. It's okay to be in both, peak and valley, because it is nature, it is life. It's a human life process. We do all go through the ups and downs. I had to learn how to deal with them, what to do in order to deal with them. And lastly, I say, life gives us free tools that cost nothing. And we struggle to do these things. Being kind does not cost you anything. Being grateful, just being grateful, and at your peak, that is the time when, embrace your peak. Embrace your peak so much that you celebrate it for yourself. You don't need somebody else to celebrate your peak, because your peak is different from what somebody else might deem their peak. And that is where you need to lose comparison. Leave comparing yourself to the next person, because that on its own, comparing comes with a whole lot of things that are not actually positive. You're going to end up being jealous and which is something I don't want to get into. But be grateful, but also find the little stars and the little, the moon, something in your valley. And the reason why in the beginning I mentioned what a valley is and a peak is from a definition of a dictionary is that in most cases there's always a stream of water running through, flowing through. That stream is forever flowing, which just shows you nothing stops. So, but find something that will keep you flowing. So find the little things. We tend not to celebrate the little things about ourselves. Mental health, mental depression, depression and mental illness. Most of the time when you're in the valley, trust me, you see nothing positive. But once you start doing the work, you'll be like, wow, I woke up today. Because in most cases, maybe you find yourself, you're always sleeping, you're always not showing up in the family, you're always cutting yourself away from people, you become scarce, and. What I learned through being admitted and through the journey I'm on is I celebrate the fact that being mindful and being grateful for just waking up is number one. But at the same time, when I am in that valley, I need to find something and say, wow, today I got to at least send out that email with my CV to whoever, which is something I have not been doing in a while because I gave up on looking for a job just because of the regrets I was getting. So you need to find a thread every time that's just going to keep you going. And that is where that stream of water is about. It shows that life keeps on happening, whether you're at a peak or whether you are in your valley. life is always flowing. It's flowing for someone. It's going. It's not waiting for anyone. So that is one of the things that I can leave you with. And just on a last slide is Sibonge, I am Swati, and Kagaza is actually pronounced Kagaza. Kagaza is to unleash your potential, to be the best you can be, to be at your peak, and that is why my logo, even for my blog, you'll see my logo on the blog and my logo for the company, it has a flame. They all have flames. And I always say this with my mentees that I mentor and with people that I work for, and in most cases, people that I've worked with, and they are under me. I always say, do not dim your internal light for anyone. So even if that executive or that manager is pulling you down at work and you are not feeling at your best, you know the purpose of why you're there. You know why you are going through what you're going through. So that light is not supposed to be dimmed, but for anybody, keep it. If you just make sure that it's still lit, trust me, it will keep growing as you also allow yourself to evolve, as you allow yourself to feel, as you allow yourself to say, I need help. You know, that is also one of the biggest things around mental health, is that it's always people that struggle with mental health are people that at that point, they don't want to ask for help because they think they have it together, but you are slowly breaking. So that is what Kagaza is about. It's unleashing potential, which is I'm about what's this? I'm about unleashing potential, having to make sure that one understands why are they living, what is their purpose, you know. And I'm glad that at some point, you know, I had to go through a phase in my life where I had to define a lot of things for myself, which helped me quite a lot. So these are my details on where you can find me. I think I've sent the presentation to Mulalo. Mulalo can send and share it, or like you said, it will be available on the platform. But that is Nobuhle. That is me, Poni. And one of the things I don't mention quite much is that I am also a faith healer. And as one would, and others would call it more profeta. I am. So I was also quite intrigued by the fact that this book is coming from, you know, there's a note, there's a mention to what the Bible does say, and which is very key. Every single day, I believe, whether you asking from God, from the universe, whatever higher power that you believe in, you must always ask for the wisdom and the knowledge to do what you are going to be doing today, or also the wisdom and the knowledge to be able to discern. And that helps a lot throughout your mental health journey, because I can tell you now, if you are not asking for that wisdom and that knowledge, if you're not asking for that help from your source, unfortunately, doing it alone is not always the answer. We need to seek help. And what better way to seek help from what we call our source, God, Jesus, universe, whatever it is that it might be. You seek that guidance and you will get it free of charge. You need to be able to just say it and it will happen. So that's me in a nutshell. And that maybe I'll get to share the actual story around mental health, my mental health story sometime, and to take you through exactly the kind of things that I say have made me resilient, have made me being able to bounce back. You need to be able to bounce back in life, whether things are perfect or not. You need to be able to bounce back. So that is me, Mulalo, and thank you for the opportunity. And I know I probably took bit of time because now I wasn't seeing the time at the top. I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, like a
So,
bit of time. Okay. Thank you very much, Nobuhle. That was you were flowing in that presentation. There was no way that I was gonna say the 15 minutes is over and thereafter say the 10 minutes for the discussion is over. But we really enjoyed the session, and for you just to share, my favorite part of this was when you say that we need to know where we are, whether it's in the peak or whether it's in the valley, because knowing where we are, it's simply the starting point. There was a hand from Zetu, but I don't think, oh yeah, Zetu, welcome back. We're gonna take that one question or comment from your side. You had your hand raised, and thereafter we will hand over to Malebo to introduce the book, and then the discussion in line with your presentation and the book, people can comment and ask questions after both
and
have
we'll do it later.
presented.
Okay, that's
Yes,
fine.
thank
I'm
you.
happy with that.
Zetu?
Is Zetu still there? Oh, he's saying it was a mistake.
Okay,
Maybe she
not a
didn't want to raise
problem.
her hand. Are you scared of me now, Zetu?
Thank you very much. And yeah, we got to know you a bit better, Nobutle. So thank you for sharing. Malebo, over to you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad. I enjoyed Novo's presentation because as I was listening to her, I could relate to part of the book that we just read, Pigs and Valleys. But you know, I realized that she took so much time. So I will try to go through the summary of the book and also share the points that she mentioned that I felt that they were relatable in the book. First of all, I would like to define a peak as it was described in the book. And they said the peak, there are moments where you appreciate what you have. And nobody spoke about being grateful, you know. Sometimes we are not seeing the little things that we have. You know, you have food on the table, you have a supportive family. We are looking outside what other people have, but we don't realize that we have much. And therefore, we are not seeing our peak. In the book, they talk about when the little boy got to the peak the first time, he said, "Oh, I missed it." But that's the part where, you know, he didn't realize that he was already at the peak. But because he missed the sunset, he's looking at, oh, I missed the sunset. So therefore, you know, he didn't recognize that I went up the valley and I reached the peak. So that's what we tend to focus on, of what we missed, of what other people have that we don't have, but we fail to recognize where we are in life. So I would those are called peaks. And on the book, they talk about valleys. Valleys are the moments where you long for what's missing. And yeah, I have described it like the boy missed the sunset. So therefore, you long for what's missing. Molalo has a book club. I don't have. Molalo has this. You know what other people have. Those things, they will bring depression to you, and that's what Nobuta was saying. That, you know, when you don't appreciate what you have, you start missing what other people have. You're comparing yourself that Molalo has this, I don't have this. This one has got a better car, I don't have a better. Those things, they will drag you down into your values. So we need to appreciate so that we don't let things, we don't miss so much in our lives that we drag ourselves down. And the secret, really, that they defined in the book is to appreciate and enjoy the time for what it is. If you are going through a tough time, appreciate that time and feel it that it's a tough time and try to see the light. What is it that I can do to make it better? And if you are going through a peak, celebrate that you have reached a milestone that you have set for yourself. And that's how it helps us not to stay too long to the peak, is to stay there. They say that recognize where you are. I think that's what Nobuke explained, that you must recognize where you are and work from there. That's the secret, to appreciate and enjoy the time where we are. And they talk about we create values in our minds because we like comparing. And I have explained that because you like to compare yourself, whether Molalo has a better car than you, she lives in a better house than you, you create your own value by doing that. So, you need to stop comparing yourself to other people. Instead, realize that you are in control with your feelings. Yes, things might happen. People do things externally, but how you respond is how it's up to you. People do bad things. We have seen it. Bad things happen, but how you respond to it, it's completely up to you. It's not up to Mulalo. It's up to you. So you choose your own feelings and your thoughts. And what they're saying in the book is that you must choose the positive outcome. I'm going to give an example of this. When you are facing a situation of leaving your job or staying into your job, you must weigh up your options. You must not let fear control how you choose your options. You can say, okay, fine, if I leave this job, I won't have a salary, but yet it's an opportunity for me to work with myself to find a bigger purpose of what this world has to offer. And and you must believe in the positive that, if I go and if I leave this job and I go after my purpose, things are going to work out better. Have a positive belief to say that whatever I intend to do, it's going to work out. Don't look at, no, it's not going to work out. I'm not going to have money. I'm not going to be able to sustain yourself, because that will keep you down. You won't be able to go for your dreams. So if you feel that there's a business plan that you would like to go after, but you have a job, but if you believe that business plan will work out better, you go for it. You take a risk, you go for it. It's not going to be easy, but in the end, you will see the benefits. Because, most of the time we don't do things because we think, what if it goes wrong? What is this? And we don't look at what if it goes right? What if in the first month that I leave the month until I get a big deal? What if, you need to sort of like have a positive belief that things will work out better. And that's what the book is saying, that you choose a better belief no matter which situation you find yourself in. And many people do not realize that you need to be truly prepared to stay on the peak longer. That's what the book says, that if you are at the peak, most people do not realize that you need to be better prepared, because most people, once they get a big deal, they are millionaires. We've seen it in South Africa. People, they get big tenders. What they do, they are arrogant. They buy big houses. They don't take care of their peak. And that brings them to losing everything that they have. And they say that once you are in a peak, be prepared to stay there longer. And part of it is be humble. Don't be arrogant about it. And they say that you change your belly into a pig when can you find and use the good that is hidden in bad times? When we go through valleys, sometimes when we go through bad times, we don't see the value into it. And I will give an example with my personal story that when I was employed in corporate, I used to have I was introduced to a new manager who was horrible. It was horrible. I used to cry when I was driving back home, and as a result, I decided to resign from work because I couldn't. She made me feel. She belittled me. I felt like she was belittling. She was not seeing what I'm doing, and she was not recognizing my work. So. But as a result, I resigned. At that time, I resigned because of the situation. But I knew deep down in my heart, I have wanted to resign for a long time at work. It was not all because of her or anything, but I had wanted to do it. And her being around, I think it was the universe saying, you know what, you have been wanting to do it. Now we're going to force you to do it because I couldn't bear being around that woman anymore, so I resigned. It was a horrible time in my life. It was that day, but when I look back, I think it was a good thing because after I resigned, I started my own financial wellness practice, and now it's growing into something that I love. I can see whatever vision that I had for my life, this will come about. This business that I have started will bring so many visions that I wanted to do. Now I can speak, I can coach, I can help people with their finances. So that also it brought me closer to my purpose. So I had to leave that job. But at the time, I didn't see the good in what was happening, but there was a good that, this woman is forcing me to leave, but there was a hidden good in that time. So most of the time, when we are going through bad times, we don't want to see what's good. So, they're just telling us, look at what's good when the times are bad. Don't focus only on the bad things that are happening. Tell the truth. What is the truth in this situation? The truth was that I needed to leave. That is the truth. And by me leaving, meaning that I'm going to start my own business. So look at the truth in the situation. Don't get stuck in the situation. And how you manage your belly determines how soon you get out to the next peak. And when you are in the peak, are you becoming a victim now of circumstances to say that everybody must feel sorry for you? Then you're gonna stay at that peak longer because now you are not managing your peak. You're not seeing the truth of the situation that you are in. You just want everybody to feel sorry for you. So you have to be able to manage your value when you go through the valley. And if you do not learn from your value, you become bitter. I've come across bitter people in my life, and that's what this book is explaining. You become a bitter person because you didn't manage to your value better. You became a victim. You wanted everybody to feel sorry for you. When people didn't feel sorry for you, you felt like they are being nasty or something. Then you become a bitter person. But when you learn that in the valley, when you manage your value better, you become a better person because you learn what you need to learn. Because values, when they come into our lives, they are there to teach us a lesson. So once you get to that lesson and you realize what is it that you're supposed to do, you become a better person and you become stronger and you become more resilient. I think that's what Nobita was talking about, resilience. The more you are able to get out of your failures, you become a resilient person, because now you're stronger, you're able to lift more weight than what you were. And on the book, they talk about a plateau. A plateau is a time when you need to rest. Sometimes things get busy in our lives. You get depressed and everything. Sometimes you just need to do nothing, just do nothing, rest, renew yourself. Don't do anything, so that your next action, when you feel rested, that's why we need to sleep every night, because when you feel rested, you make better decisions. When you are tired, you are anxious and everything, sometimes you need to rest. When life gets too much, take your time, rest, go to a spa, relax, and that will renew you. You will feel renewed, and the next day you will take a better decision in your life. So we need to rest. When we are tired, we need to recognize that we are tired, and take time off. Take time off, because it will only help us to take time off. Sometimes solutions, they don't come out of our busy life. Sometimes solutions, they come out because we have rested, because sleep renews our mind. And sometimes your subconscious in your sleep gives you solutions. There is your subconscious mind is speaking to you while you're sleeping to give you solutions. So when you wake up, you come up with new solutions that you didn't even think about before rest. So it's very important that you take time off when life gets busy or too tough or anything that happens. And also the book talks about your ego, that an ego is a good thing in life, because it helps us to recognize ourselves and everything, but we must not let the ego takes over our life, because an ego is one thing that when things are going wrong, when you're in the belly, you become fearful. That's your ego speaking. You look at everything with fear. Like in the book, they have explained when the young boy wanted to go to a higher peak, he came across a river. And at that point, when he saw the river, it was fear speaking to him that you're going to drown, you're not going to make it, there's no way, you are too tired, it's too hard. That is fear speaking to the little boy. And sometimes in our lives, we find ourselves that, we want to do something, we have plans, but because of our ego, we are too fearful to, no, I will not make it, I'm not good enough Mulala always finds opportunities. And I will say for myself, I always disqualified myself without even applying, to say, no, I'm not good enough, I won't make it, I won't succeed. That was fear speaking to me, that I wasn't confident enough. But when we let fear take over our life, we're not gonna come out of our comfort zone and everything. So we should be able to recognize fear and get out of this fear, and actually do apply. Even if you're fearful, if you have to speak and you are scared, speak. Even if your voice is shaking, you speak up. Don't let fear paralyze you. And they say sometimes when we are in our peak, also our ego becomes arrogant, and it marks itself as, this person is too confident, because there will be people who are confident, but at the same time they are arrogant. So in the book they talk about the little boy when he went to the valley and he went back to the business. He had this arrogance that I know. Those people, they know everything. They don't want to listen to people's advice. They don't want to listen to anyone. They know better than everyone. Those people can be quite annoying, and that's the ego. So we need to recognize the ego within us whenever, and learn. Life is about learning. You don't go through life. Life is a lifelong journey. We learn every day. We become better people because we learn. There's never a point where you know enough. I think that's one thing that I learned recently, that in life, it's a learning journey all the time. You can't say you know enough at any point, because the more you learn, the more you become a better person. Like as people, we evolve. That's where maturity kicks in. When you say a person has matured, it's because they have learned and they are still learning. They are not letting their ego get to themselves to say that I have learned enough. I know this, I know that, I know that. They are always willing to learn, and they are mature to say that, help other people at the bottom. And I want to talk about the sensible vision. That is what I think Nobuke called it. He talked about having a vision for yourself, drawing up a vision board. And beginning of the year, that's what we did. That we did our own vision board. We had a session here in Pretoria. I attended it, and we did our vision board. And on this book, on Ethics and Values, they talk about your vision. When the little boy wanted to get to one peak to the next, when they were fearful, they had to come back to themselves and to look at how they're gonna feel when they get to the peak, how everything is going to look, how everything is gonna sound. And because of that strength to say that your vision, it pulls you towards your vision. Having a vision, you have the energy to do the things that are required to get to that vision. And that's what sensible vision is. They say that you must imagine how your peak will feel, will smell, will look, and sound, and even taste, so that you get to that vision. And that's what we must do for ourselves, for our vision. I run 5 a.m. meditation in every morning. And part of that meditation is to recognize where you are in life and to dream better for your life. Be still and visualize, have a vision for your life. Usually after meditation, I have a vision, to look at my vision board to say this is where I want to get to, so that you can have a feeling about where you want to and how will it feel like, how will your life look, and that will help you have the energies for today so that you can work towards that vision. It's a force, it attracts you. And what I have seen, that it even attracts the people. I had the strangest thing, that I'm sitting in doing whatever I'm doing, and I get a call. Hey, Malewa, I need help with this and this and this. Can you do it? And that's what having a vision and sensing it, you attract things. Things will come to you. And that's why I always encourage meditation. And after meditation, you visualize where you want to be, because those things, they work. You attract what you want. You don't have to chase for anything. In life, we don't chase, we attract. And by keeping still and seeing our vision, it will only attract what we want. You will get what you want. It's either you're going to get it in form of energy, you're going to get it in form of attracting the right people in your mind, in your life. No matter how you get there, but there will be a force that is unexplainable that will help you reach whatever hurdle that you need to reach, so that you get to your peak. And they say that, sorry.
You guys are just
Yes.
flowing today. The 10 minutes case presentation going beyond 20 minutes. So I had posted on the chat just to find out if there's anyone that is keen to share their experience of the book or comment or ask questions for them to raise their hands. But I realized that sometimes people don't check the chat functionality. So that's why I'm coming in to say if there's anyone that would like to contribute or share their experience of the book, please raise your hand and then we'll recognize you and give you time. I'm happy that we add maybe another 10 minutes to this session so that those that would like to contribute can get recognized and also share the experience of the book. Thank you. You can continue, Malebo.
It took much time than what I had. But yeah, basically, I think in conclusion to this session is that have a vision and the universe will pull you to your vision. Let it be in form of energy, let it be in form of attracting the right people in your life who are going to help you. And it's always good to know where you are going. And those vision boards that Molalo always encouraged us to the beginning of the year, we must refer back to it. We are almost halfway through the year. And, if you have not looked at your vision board, look at it and visualize what your end of the year you want it to be. And you will have the energy to do what is required to get you there. Basically, that's how the young boy was able to get to the peak. And there are lessons, takeaways that he had is that, you create your peak when you follow your sensible vision, your fear faith, and you become peaceful and successful. That is the last quote from the book, that you create your peak by following your sensible vision, and your fear, whatever fear that you have, it will fade away, and you're going to become peaceful. And therefore, when you're peaceful, you will become successful. And I really enjoyed the book and the message that it brought. That's why I was so passionate talking about this book. So I will let everybody their own take, which part of the book that they enjoyed. They must tell us, and maybe if there's a personal story that they want to share, they can share it with us. Thank you so much, Molala.
Thank you, Malebo. Is there anyone else that would like to share their experience of the book? While we wait for someone to either raise their hand or unmute, from my side, also linking it to Nobutle's presentation, my take from the book is that no matter where you are in life, remember that it's a temporary state. And then one needs to appreciate the peak and also learn from the valley, because both have something valuable to offer. And my one thing from the book was when that boy was trying to reach from the other side, throwing the rope and not getting it right, him not giving up and figuring out a better way of doing things just made me realize that sometimes there's certain things that we want to do, but we're not getting ahead, and then we think that's the end of it. But there are better ways, there are smarter ways of doing things. And I apply those principles in my life. And how I apply that is I used to write things down, and then I just move with them from one week to another on my diary. And then every Monday, I'm like, this is on my to-do list. And then sometimes some of the things kept on recurring. So I decided on my diary, I'm no longer doing that. I'll just write the actioned items that I did. And then I took a board, put it next to my desk, and then I write the things that I need to do, and then as my action list. And then I move them from the board, and then I literally rub them off, and then I add them to my diary. And in that way, I could see that some of the things I was trying different ways, but not trying the smarter ways of figuring these things out and actually have them happen so that I can move to the other side. So that's my take on the book. All the peaks and the valleys have something to offer. Thank you. Anyone else that would like to share, comment? You can unmute, you can raise your hand, and then we take it from there.
No questions for me?
It's like you covered it.
Did I scare your people away? Did I scare the, oh my gosh, did I scare the community away?
No. With that said, thank you very much. Special thank you to you, Nobuhle, as our subject matter expert for today, and for sharing your journey with us, sharing yourself with us, and also being part of the community and raising your hand to take up this opportunity when I reached out. Because as you have joined us recently and shared about the work that you do in line with mental health, I just connected the dots to say this book that we are reading this month is also in line with that, because it speaks to peaks and valleys. And thank you for taking us up and for sharing and also engaging with us in terms of, you said it's people investment consultant. That's a first
Yes.
for me. I was just like, oh, PIC. Okay, the money people, asset managers. Now we are managing people. So thank you very much for sharing that PIC with us and then doing the work that is necessary for our people. And to you, Malebo, thank you so much for the session that you just gave an outline of the book and also relating it beautifully to your personal experience as well, because we got to reach both our objectives in terms of understanding the concept of the peaks and the valleys, and also being able to reflect on personal experiences. And I'm sure that we're still going to do more of that as we engage further. I know some people haven't read the book or listened to the book, and you just did that beautifully so that everyone is in the same page. So there is feedback. We're going to share the feedback form link on the chat, and also share it on the WhatsApp group. So be on the lookout for that. Okay, there's a thank you from Mevo Sisiwe for the presentation, and then we resonated much, and then Noble saying, I'm glad it has had impact. It's always been an objective. So your presentation speaks to a lot of people. It allows us to be able to assess where we are and some of the choices and decisions that we've made. So I think it's more relatable to more people here. And most people that are outside corporate, they basically left in the same route. So this was very relevant based on where we are. So the June book, it's Fascinating Womanhood by Helen Anderlin. So this book has survived not making it to the 2022 reading list, and then it finally made it to the 2023 reading list. So this is a book that we've always wanted to read, and by just going through it, started working on me, and then I put it aside, and then now I'm like, I want to start it on the 1st of June so that I keep track of all these things that are happening and can also share the journey of the book with the ladies in the book club. So this book, it's a Tanga's baby. So Tanganezeni Mushiane, she's the one that's going to be championing this book next month. And it's a book that comes highly recommended. And then, yeah, people say, take it with a dose of grace. Yeah, we're going to need a lot of grace. We're going to need a lot of being present. I think all these books are placed in such a way that for us to benefit from the journey, we need to be in the journey and be present and enjoy it. So the next review will be on Sunday, the 25th of June. So you'll get communication around that. And then the IECO platform will also give you a reminder before the session starts. And then lastly, just an update on the conference. So we're having our conference and awards on Saturday, the 5th of August. So this is happening in Polokwane at Hayani Guest House. And then we've got 35 tickets left. And the early bird price of 250 Rand is up until the 15th of June. So as you can see, we are constantly communicating about the tickets and the booking. So once we do all these things and then we consolidate everything, I'm not entertaining anything outside of what we are communicating. So I just want to remind everyone to just ensure that if you'll be joining us, check your schedules and then book your sit. And then if you need any support, then you're most welcome to reach out, and then we'll be able to see how we can come in. But more information around that will also be communicated to the community members. When I send out that email, I'll also let you know. That'll probably be around the 15th of June so that we can see who needs support from the people that have indicated or have paid for their tickets. If it's related to transportation, if it's related to accommodation, then we can be able to come in and assist with regards to those logistics. So yeah, we don't want to run the risk of saying from the ticket, we're starting you from the ticket, the accommodation, the travel, and the next thing a person doesn't rock up. So this is more of a commitment or an assurance that I've cleared my schedule and then I am willing to be there, and then we can plan accordingly. So thank you so much for joining us for today's session. So we are available. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. And we have introduced something really nice in this book and also the past month's book, where every single day on social media, so on Facebook, on Twitter, and on LinkedIn, at 6 a.m. every morning, we're sharing a tip from the book, or we're sharing something that is in line with the book. So even if you're not reading the book, or you don't have time to read the book, every morning, 6 a.m., just go there and then you will find something that is related to the book, and then you can be able to be up to date in terms of what is happening. So that's it from my side. Anyone else that would like to say something in closing, you're most welcome to unmute and then share while I get the feedback form link from IECO. Thank you. Yes, the link on the chat. With that said, thank you all for joining us for today's session, and apologies that we had to go over time. We had a few technical difficulty when we started, but the recording will be available and shared on our YouTube channel. We'll also share the link once that is available. With that said, enjoy and have a lovely afternoon further. Special thank you to you, Nobuhle, Eshla, and to myself once again for such a beautiful session. Thank you.